Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Brother Red Pill reporting live and direct. Yes, indeed. This is another episode of Saturday Night Live. You already know. Peace to the family out there. Peace to everybody in the chat. Peace to everybody in the chat. Let's do an audio check. I just want to make sure that everything is good on the audio side, that you can hear the good crispy audio and the sound effects. Let me know how we looking out there in these YouTube streets. You know what I'm talking about? You thought it was Tuesday? No, please get a hold of your days. This is Saturday. All right. Shout out to Saturday. All right. You said it's good, so it's Gucci. All right. Let's do the roll call. Let's get the roll call out of the way. And then let's do what we came here to do. You know what I'm talking about? Let's come here to do what we came here to do. So shout out to everybody in the building. I see that we have the Dominican Republic is up in here. All right. Australia is up in here. We got the global family tapping in before everybody else. I like how that feels. I like what that's saying and whatnot. Shout out to DR. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Australia. Peace. Greensboro in the building. Indianapolis in the building. That town. All right. I see you. Okay. KTLE and Mothership. All right. San Diego, Cali. All right, I hear you. I see you. Denver in the building. Shout out to Denver, Colorado. Salute. All right. Moreno Valley. Is there a lot of Morenos in that valley? Shout out to Moreno Valley, Cali. Delaware, Agtown, Bay Area. I see you. Memphis. All right. Memphis in the building. Shout out to Memphis. Seattle is here. Arlington is here. Northwest Georgia is here. Where is Northwest Georgia? Just let me, where is that? Where exactly is Northwest Georgia? So I can look at it on the highway when I'm driving. Fiji Islands. Salute to the Fiji Islands. Bridgeport. I see you, Bridgeport. Okay. Bridgeport is in here. NOLA. 504. All right. Peace to NOLA. All right. Warren, Ohio. Go to Ross Ben's channel if you're from the Ohio regions. He did a very good broadcast where they would break it down the 40th parallel and they were decoding Columbus, Ohio. If anybody out here lives in Ohio or anywhere surrounding that, I think it's imperative that you tap in and really, you know, get familiar with Ross Ben's work and whatnot. And the decoding that he's been doing on the 40th parallel is very important. You know what I mean? And you could go ahead and do more research on it, but it's very important. You feel me? He's Flatbush by way of Georgia. I see you. VA, Thomasville. You know what I'm talking about? It's whack the 100, the feds. Yeah, you tell me shit. Does it look like it? Louisiana is up in here. Memphis, Tennessee is here. 706 is here. Cartersville, Calhoun, Dalton, Rome. That's all in. Okay, that's the. Okay, so Cartersville is where the Idlewild Mounds is at. I remember driving up there a few times and whatnot. So shout out to y'all. On the Bayou, Gibson, Louisiana. Okay, got them crawfish on deck. El Paso, Texas. El Paso, Texas. Jamaica in the building. Shout out to the Mondem in Jamaica. Salute to the Mondem. Big up Jamaica, man. Big up. You said fix the mic. Hold on. What the f is that? Are they serious? They be wildin', yo. Thank you for that. Okay. Audio is here, man. We have to fix the audio. Pardon me. I'm in here talking to a microphone and shit ain't even on. Chicago is here. Shout out to Chicago.
So yeah, we in the building, man. We here. You know what I'm talking about? We 100 deep right now. Shout out to everybody that dropped the link for their roll call. Wherever you are, you know what I mean? Wherever you are, wherever you find yourself, salute. You know what I mean? And happy Saturn Day. The sound was a little muffled. Yeah, because you was hearing the internal, you was hearing the computer microphone. This was just a prop. I wasn't even talking. This shit wasn't even picking up, but I fixed that. You know what I mean? And we good now. So
to this day,
yeah.
To this day,
I seen the white boy, what's his name, Tyson Fury, that knocked another brother out and whatnot, man. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gonna have to come and fix that shit because this is getting embarrassing. For real, for real. Tampa in the building, all right? Arkansas in the building. Okay, that's what's up. So anyway, we're not going to be here for too long tonight. Tonight's show, we're going to have a special guest. All right, he's no stranger to this platform. We've been bringing our good brother on this platform numerous occasions and whatnot. And tonight we're going to pull up with our good brother ALKEBULAN, the Don. We're going to get into some high science. So I highly suggest that y'all grab a pen and a pencil because this brother definitely is dropping some information that I want y'all to walk away with, you know what I'm saying? And be able to go and do your research, go and do some further research and whatnot. Hold on. Okay. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Tyson Fury is definitely a problem. His affirmation proving stronger than the bros. Yeah, he needs to be stopped immediately, bro. He needs to be stopped. I'm tired of seeing, and he got the bad body up there knocking people out. Like, he really needs to get taken down. They out here talking about, is he the greatest boxer ever? That's complete blasphemy. You know what I'm talking about? So we need the bros to come and do something about that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, like I was saying earlier, we have a special guest in the building, and I am not gonna hold you, and I'm not gonna hold this brother up. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this good brother into the building so we could get to the conversation and whatnot. All right. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our good brother, ALKEBULAN44.
to this day,
Peace to the
to
God.
this day.
Peace to the God. What's good with you, brother, man?
Peace, man. Just, living, you know what I mean? Just trying to stay on top of the game, in reference
Not trying.
No, we doing. Yeah, we doing. We staying on top of the game.
Staying on top of it.
With information and just, presenting it in a way that, people may not be familiar with, but it's a language that I've always said needs to be spoken, because it's going to be, a specific paradigm shifter in regards to teaching. So,
Right.
for us to really acquiesce to a higher level of information, we got to start presenting ourselves, and not only presenting ourselves, but demonstrating it in such a way that it affects certain things in real time. So,
Right.
as me and Brother Red, we're putting together, or we put together, a class, the Illustrious Illumination, that will be kicking off April 30th. And, it's going to be a lot of high science. Like he said, you know what I'm saying? It's information that you can't necessarily pick up in a book, but I do my just due, and deep dive on a daily basis to make these correspondences, synthesize them together to create the bigger picture. So that way we can, see what we're working with and the type of
Nah, you
information
be going in.
from us.
Yeah, you be going in. You said deep diving. You be going in. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. So, the Illustrious Illumination. So we're going to talk about it a little bit tonight.
That's right. That's right. For anybody that's new in the building, I said it on the show last week that we are going to be bringing out ALKEBULAN 44 on KTLUniversity.com, because KTL University is an online university. The reason why we put it together is for the main purpose of presenting teachers, so we could begin to get back to teaching, right? High level teaching and whatnot. So ALKEBULAN the Dawn is one of the first teachers on KTL University. This is going to be classic and epic, the same way that Know the Ledge Radio was throughout its run and whatnot. We're going to be introducing you to new, what we call master students, all right? And we're also going to be bringing some master teachers along as well. But you know, as it is, the people have spoken, you know what I mean? And the people said unanimously that they want this brother to come through and come back and bring some of that science and those metaphysics, because, you know, the way that my inboxes was flooded and whatnot, you know, with your praise, they were like, look, this brother he's on one, you know what I mean? He's on one. Don't lose him. You know, let's not forget about him. You know what I'm saying? You know how that goes out here in in this game and whatnot. People get forgotten, and you know, people just move on and whatnot. So we don't want to make mistakes like that. You know what I mean? We want to value those amongst us for the work that they're doing and whatnot in real time. You feel me? In real time. Before we begin, are you a fan of boxing by any chance? I was talking about
Yeah, I mean, I heard you speaking about Tyson Fury and knocking out another brother. I ain't get a chance to see it per se, and I haven't watched, I mean, boxing in a little minute. But I mean, I boxed a little bit actually, maybe about 4 years ago, and what I took from it was, and it's interesting because, you know, when you initially go into boxing, you really just fighting per se. You think it's, you know, a situation where you gotta go toe to toe with the person. But when I was in the ring and my first time actually experiencing that, it's more of a technical situation, because you're looking at how the hips move, you're looking at how the feet work. Like, it's very technical, very, you know, it's like playing chess, you know.
that's why they
That I've noticed, you know, in my experience of boxing is it's not necessarily something where you can just go in and start throwing haymakers. You know, a lot of us say we can fight, but really we just throwing haymakers. We just throwing our arms around. But when you really understand the technicalities of boxing, you know, the boxer no longer sees it as fighting. He sees it as physics. You know, he sees it as, you know, a form of science. You know what
that's
I'm
why
saying?
they call it the sweet science, right?
That's right. Yeah. So, you know, that's something that I picked up on while I was boxing. But as far as watching it, I haven't watched boxing too much as of recent, you know,
Okay.
but I'm a fan of the sport though.
Okay, so you was getting busy. You was in the ring.
I was. I wouldn't say that I actually got in an actual fight per se, like an actual boxing fight, but sparring, training, things of that nature. Yeah, I definitely experienced. And it's something that I want to take up on, to be quite honest with you. I just got to get the time to do it because, you know, again, understanding the mechanics of reality and the mind and how it plays and how it works, like, it's a different way of looking at sports when you couch yourself, you know, in a very scientific, you know, mindset. So I noticed just some of the information that I'm gonna present during the show is going to be crucial for individuals who are in sports, whether it's basketball, football,
Right.
boxing. Again, it puts you in a mental state to where literally you can manipulate space and time by way of changing the way you perceive something. So, you know, something as simple as Michael Jordan would always be in the locker room prior to every game. He would literally close his eyes and visualize, you know, how the game would play out. And he would go out
Right.
and like how it's played out. Kobe Bryant used to sit in the locker room, put on Michael Myers music. That's what they said. He put on Michael Myers music prior to every game. And just the theme song alone.
Zone out, right? Just the zone. Get in that zone.
And
About to catch a body.
right, they're tapping into that flow state. So that flow
Right.
state is the 0 point. The 0 point is a topological descent of information, but it's a way you gotta adhere your mind to conceive the ability to, you know, put on a performance that you see what's happening in your mind. So that's certain information that we're going to talk about on the 30th. But again, relaying back to boxing, when I was in boxing, I recognized that was a piece back then that I was missing that I've acquired now. And now having more of a scientific lens to the way I see things, you can apply it to everything in your life, down to sports. So
some people would say, you know, in a more ignorant way or judgmental type of position, that, you know, boxers can't be that intelligent based off of, you know, their academic levels and whatnot. You know, there aren't too many scholars that have emerged out of the boxing sphere and whatnot. So people who don't know about the science behind boxing usually thinks that a pugilist is just somebody, like you said, who could get in the ring and has a lot of brawn and whatnot, and they
right.
just throw haymakers and get lucky. You feel me? They'll never comprehend the science that goes behind it, because as with a lot of things, we don't see the process. We only see the outcome. You know what I mean?
Right. And you know, it's common knowledge that all boxers, you know, refrain from spilling, you know, before a fight, you know,
Yes.
6 months without spilling semen. But you
6
know,
months.
6 to 8 months is what I heard. I don't, you know,
Wow.
6 to 8 months is what I heard.
Because
But
training is, yeah, you can't bust a nut during training. You can't spill your seed right up to the fight. I was thinking that it was, you know, a few weeks before. This is news to me.
it,
Yeah,
it might be. What I heard is about 6 months prior to a fight. And
right.
that's even going into training as well. So even during the training process up until the fight, they don't want you to release. But you know, just understanding that science and understanding the power of the cerebral spinal fluid, that brain matter, you know, that's important because again, we're going to touch on it in the lecture, but you know, structured water, plasma in the body is important for you to tap into that flow state. So when you can electrify the plasma in the body by way of adhering to a lifestyle where you're not spilling the semen, that's going to allow you to naturally tap into that flow state. That flow state comes by way of the body, but you got to start within the body and understand how it works to even tap into it. So basically maintaining the cerebral spinal fluid in the body electrifies it to where when you go into the ring, again, you tap into that flow state because your brain literally is adhering to what you call, again, the 0 point, what we call the flow state. And we're going to talk more about that. But yeah, you know, from what I heard, you know, they're retaining for about 6 months prior to.
So are you trying to say that, you know, the 40-year-old virgin is mad brolic? You mean to tell me that James Worthy was a if a nigga's a virgin, like he's like, you
Look,
know,
no, that's an interesting observation because you notice the individuals who are virgins, you know, at an older age, they're more pristine in a sense to where they're tapping into higher levels of information. You see these individuals building robots and all type of things. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
very creative.
Right. Because they're taking that, you know, because in all essence, you know, when you feel horny, when you feel the urge to want to spill, that's actually your creative juices. So I always encourage
Mm,
people, when you're feeling horny, your body's telling you, your intelligence in the body is telling you naturally to go create something, jump in the
right.
studio, and, you know, put a pen to a pad because again, that's that urge, that's that what we call kundalini energy and things of that nature. But
Kundalini rising, right?
right. But living in a Western society, we've been over sexualized to where now we feel the urge to spill as opposed to using that force to create. That force is used to create. So when you feel horny, you can either go and create a baby or you can go and create a masterpiece. But that's a choice you
Right.
in that. So yeah, that's a key, you know, trying to retain as much as possible. And I even encourage that during the God Body Challenge, because you maximize the energy output when you do it. And not only
Right.
that, and your creative levels increase and you'll notice that when you do it. So, you know, that's something, you know, down the road that I'm gonna eventually practice myself, is just retaining as much as possible, just to utilize the fullest of my brain capacity. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, that conversation has gotten a lot louder in this community in the past few months. I'm hearing for that matter, and I'm also seeing a lot of teachers such as Wayne Chandler. He came through with the science and whatnot. Hank Rosin touched on it. There's been a few of our scholars who's been tapping in and you know, just lending the science to this theory because, you know, of course, some people see it as a theory, they want to argue it and whatnot. I know it's a fact at the end of the day. Like, it's not a theory. You know, I've lived long enough to know that it is a fact that, you know, you fare better by maintaining your chi, you know what I mean, your energy or your blue light. And you could literally, and I don't want to be all vulgar and whatnot, but you could F yourself stupid, you know what I mean, or dumb. You feel me? You could, you know, they say you could skeet your brains out. And, you know, for like, I look at the music artists, you feel me? That they say the sophomore jinx is sometimes tied into the fact that a lot of artists, you know, hit the road after that first album drops. You know what I mean? They become more promiscuous and things of that nature. And, you know, a lot of the creativity is wasted with those extracurricular activities versus when you were unsigned and you was, you know, starving, you was a starving artist and whatnot. You probably wasn't doing a lot of that. You wasn't, you know, rotating 3 or 4 women a day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You probably was getting lucky, but my nigga, you wasn't hitting jackpot.
No, and see, people don't even think about that part of the business. I mean, just being an entertainer, you know, in the public eye as well. You know, of course, you got a lot of, you know, opportunities to tap into that. You know, just because of the amount of women that are presented to you, and a lot of men fall victim to it. You know, tapping into more of their lower nature, not understanding again that it's the plasma in the body that's allowing you to even tap into your creativity. Because again, the plasma in the body can adhere to counter space. When I say counter space, I'm talking about, again, the 0 point where all the information exists. So when you're constantly spilling, you know, I spoke on it before in the video, that eventually even leads down to depression because you're eliminating the gray matter in the brain, which is causing that to take place. So yeah, people, you know, and that's why I always feel like it's important too, before you even become public, or a public figure per se, always try to have some sort of foundation or grounding, you know, before you even tap into this type of lifestyle. Because again, you know, like they say, new levels, new devils. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to put nobody's business out there, but it was a public comment made on my YouTube channel. I believe it was the show that me and you did with Brother Richie, and we touched on this. And in the comment section, a sister commented that she lost her fiance based off of the fact that he was going through a deep depression because of his inability to, you know, he had an addiction to masturbation and whatnot, and he would feel very depressed to the point that he committed suicide.
Oh,
You feel me? Yeah, like that shit is real. You know what I mean? It's very real. You know, there are a lot of, you know, they say suicide is up amongst Black males, but so is, you know, hypersexualization as well. And of course, you know, mainstream media, Fox 5 is not going to tie in the two just like that if it's not advantageous to them. You know, I know that they're, you know, in my heart and in my mind, I really know that there's a conspiracy coming out of San Fernando Valley and the places where they produce porn and whatnot to keep us completely ignorant of our powers and completely over sexualized and hypersexualized. So, you know, we don't necessarily, that is the biggest distraction. You know what I mean? That is the biggest distraction outside of the other millions of distractions that they decide that they throw out there. That's one of the biggest distractions.
That's a fact. Yeah, I mean, just engaging, like we spoke on in the past, you know, in that type of you know, experience when you're watching, you know, pornography. Again, that eliminates a piece of the brain, that eliminates brain matter. So it eventually leads to a sense of depression.
Right.
You
Like you're missing something. You feel like you're missing something. Like, yo, I'm without.
Yeah, and then even on a spiritual level, you know, we've talked about in the past succubuses and incubuses, like different things attached to you energetically wise when you're engaging in, you know, watching pornography. So, you know, there's different entities that you open yourself up to, you know, when you tap into it, because again, when you're watching something outside of you like pornography and you're comparing yourself to these individuals, again, the mind is taking it in. The mind is a magnetic field. So when you begin to involve yourselves in situations like this, you fracture the magnetic field, and those fractions become altars, and those altars take on different personalities. So eventually, even as you are watching and engaging in pornography, you begin to lose yourself, because now adhere to different personalities based on how you that's a key, that's a key understand, that's a key piece on what people have to understand when they're engaging in this type of activity. It's not only necessarily physical, but it's spiritual. So again, you're fracturing the magnetic field and allowing different entities to come in. More specifically, and I'm sure, you know, you know, people are familiar with those terms, incubuses or succubuses. But if not,
Some are not.
yeah, if not, go look it up. It's just in a nutshell, just entities that adhere to the dampening of the magnetic field, which is then allowing these individuals to come in. Right.
And they travel through the black mirror. You know what I mean? Now we have these cellular devices and whatnot. Prior to that, we didn't have these. The incubuses and the succubuses are able to, you know, move through these devices, these electric devices, right? I'm gonna put this in the lecture. I don't have this in front of me, but I got to give my good brother Cheyenne the Liberator, aka Mansa, his props, because the other day we were at the mosque and we were just chopping it up, and he brought to me and Blue's attention that the word daemon, right? Demon is a synonym for algorithm, right? So when you go and do the etymology of algo, right? ALGO, the etymology for algo is demon, right? So the algorithm or algae rhythm, like they called it in Space Jams 2, is actually a ghost in a machine. It's a demon. You feel me? It's a level, it's a form of demon. So the algorithms that are running social media, Facebook, Instagram, you know, all of the quote unquote exposing that the whistleblowers were doing and whatnot, and they were speaking about the AI component to it, the machine learning component to it, that they were feeding the machine learning a lot of negative news, all of the quote unquote lynchings that we were seeing over the years, where black men in particular were getting lynched or executed by these race soldiers and whatnot. They were feeding that to the algorithm, and then they were also feeding the outrage that black people or people around the world were having through social media. That was being fed through the artificial intelligence. So this algorithm, and going back to what you were saying about us comparing ourselves to these actors and actresses, well, that has now spilled over into social media, to whereas now it's not just about going online and getting a status report or, you know, seeing someone's picture and whatnot. The way that the algorithm and the way that these social engineers have designed it, you're actually comparing yourself to people's bodies, to what they got, to their to their journeys in life and whatnot, and you're not even on the same journey that they're on yet, and still here you go comparing yourself to a fucking dope boy or a scammer, you know what I mean, or a trapper, or somebody that's out there, you know, doing something strange for a piece of change. And you know, you might be 9 to 5 in it, you may be on your route or you may be on your path and whatnot, but they got you, you know, sizing yourself up next to somebody you don't even know from around the world.
Yeah, and that's a man. I mean, that's a weapon in and of itself. Again, the fact that, you know, demon comes from algorithm, and, you know, in reference of us following demon time, you know, it's a specific algorithm that they got us following. You know, it's interesting because even in Kemet, they will refer to demons as parasites, you know,
Right.
gut. and things of that nature. So when you're talking about living in hell, you're talking about ultimate illness, whether it's mental illness or physical illness. And that comes by way of, again, parasites in the body or in the gut. The microbiome isn't healthy.
Right.
And leads to inflammation. So now you're inflamed, you're on fire.
Fire, right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the fact that, again, engaging in this type of stuff, you know, and being on demon time on this specific algorithm, everything outside of you, you're gauging, and then you're taking in as a memory, but first it's being stored within the plasma in the body, because the plasma has the hexagonal geometry. Hexagonal geometries have the capacity to trap energy. So your body is recording everything that you're doing, and it's what you call the histones that wrap around the DNA that basically pull the information or the experiences out of the plasma and write it into the DNA, right? Everything that we're experiencing is being recorded. So
Right.
you escape, you know, certain things, but it's about, again, if you are involving yourself in that type of lifestyle, making sure you're combating it, because, you know, again, quite frankly, nothing is being written. Everything is being written within the DNA. So that's an important key, and we're going to touch on that as well. The family, go look up, again, a term called histones, Histones, histones.
Yes.
And the histones run synonymous with the creation story in ancient Kemet in reference to the Kamenu, the ancient Kamenu, or what the Greeks called the Agdo. But they're talking about the original 8, which are the histones, which wrap around the DNA to basically protect them. But look up histones. That's an important part of the body that we got to start getting into.
Definitely.
Shout out to KT. He spoke a lot about histones.
He
in the past.
does. I was just about to say that. Yeah. Shout out to my brother KT, the arts degree. Shout out to Mama Pill. Today is her born day. You know, I'm talking about, yeah, she's a legend.
Absolutely.
Without her, there's no twin pillars and no KT and the rest of us.
Absolutely.
So, somebody said last day of Aries is today. No, it's not. We in Taurus season, family. Somebody asked, do you think folks should donate plasma? What do you feel about that?
Absolutely not. I don't even see
Hell to the no.
No, I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Again, like your experiences, your memories, everything is stored in the plasma. So it's more than them just taking plasma, you know, for the benefit of other people. They're actually doing, again, a psyops. They're going into the plasma and studying it. Plasma costs a lot of money, obviously. So we're talking about, you know, a part of the body that's worth, you know, more than money. You know, we're talking again about experiences. So this is the way that they can, again, gauge, you know, certain individuals by way of studying how the plasma works, because everything is stored in the plasma. So I would not suggest, donating the DNA. Absolutely.
Right.
Not the DNA, but the plasma.
Yeah, the brother said absolutely not. You know, somebody said bone marrow.
Again, not bone marrow. We're talking about crystal. We're talking about silica. We don't want to donate bone marrow because, and I always speak about this as well. Like, and we'll touch on everything that we're speaking. But you know, bone is silica. I mean, that's an electrical conductor. It's piezoelectric. Every time I take a step, you know, I'm generating a charge in the body, which is making the bones a lot more dense. And bones is what processes sound, right? So when people say I can feel it in my bones, the more dense your bones is, the more rhythm you have. You know what I'm saying? Because you're acquiescent to sound. Sound, you know, is gauged based on the bone. It's a crystal.
Right.
So, you know, now the bone marrow, nothing part of the body you want to donate. And after this lecture, you'll see, you know, what I mean and why that's important to not donate things, but to actually, you know, enhance it to a point where you become almost superhero in real time. But, you know, it's again about understanding how the body works. So, you know, we're going to talk a lot about it April 30.
I've been having a lot of conversations with, you know, people in my network, and it's strange that I heard from 3 people who don't know each other the same sentiments that they were sharing with me. And they were basically expressing the fact that they feel like they're lost right now. what they were saying was that they don't feel like whatever they're doing is sustaining them. They feel like they're on a hamster wheel in a sense. This came from 3 different people on 3 different occasions, and they were like, you know what? I just feel like the energy is shifting and spirit is telling me to do something. I just don't know what. Can you speak to the fact that the sun is erupting, the solar flares, the energy that's hitting the planet, and how that might be affecting brothers and sisters who are, because each one of these 3 people, I will call them highly spiritual and tapped in. It's not like, they're not receptive and whatnot. So
Yeah.
can you speak to that?
See, I always say, when you're getting like a lot of solar flares and things of that nature, you're getting an overload. You're getting an overload. That's why I always throw the God body challenges during solar flares, because the body then is naturally fashioned to be able to accept a certain amount of information that's coming through, right? So when you're not acquiescing or living a certain lifestyle where you can embed information that's coming from on high, you will get an information download, which then leads to, a level of sluggish and, depression and things of that nature. But, at the end of the day, you're still acquiring the information, but it's always just about making sure you're prepping the body to when certain things are taking place like this. You want to make sure you get it, in a process that's a lot more easier. With people who, are experiencing a lifestyle that is, what they compared it to, like a hamster wheel and things of that nature. All about just stepping out your box and doing something again that you may deem as uncomfortable. I spoke about the codons a lot, the 64 codons in the body that are assigned to an amino acid. When you feel like you're in a rat race or you're in a hamster wheel, that's because the codons in the body are stuck in a specific sequence. So in order move that sequence and begin to change it up, so that way it begins to speak to the DNA to create more information for you to tap into, you got to step outside the box. So as opposed to just sitting down, watching the same show on TV, sitting in the same spot on the couch, eating the same food, taking the same route to work, you want to switch it up. And just something as simple as that is going to get you out of that state, because naturally you're going to tap into another frequency, which is going to, bring you more opportunities. I'll just say more opportunities. That's evidence of, again, the codons beginning to switch up in the DNA, which begin to reflect in your outer reality. So, when solar flares and all these things do happen, and this is why me and Blue always, are gauging solar flares and things of that nature, and, putting up posts relative to it, because when solar flares are getting ready to take off in 2 or 3 days prior, or if you're already ahead of the game and they're going to take off in 5 days, you want to make sure that you're prepping the body to get ready for them. If that's what you're about, you know what I'm saying, if that's what you want to do. But I encourage everybody to do that. So with avoiding the information overload, just make sure you fashion the body again in such a way that the matter in it can acquiesce to what's taking place within the cosmos, and that way you don't feel that sense of depression and things of that nature. But it happens though. It's normal.
Do you recommend waking up with the sun as it's rising, grounding, breath work, and things of that nature?
Absolutely. I do it every rising. That's a key piece in it, because again, you want to tap into the grid itself and electrify the body before you do anything. Like I've always suggested, my daily routine, every time I wake up in the rising, the best bet is to not eat anything until about 11 or 12 o'clock. The first thing you want to do is go outside and plug in. You want to put your bare feet in the grass. You want to sun gaze. And, of course, it's the UVB, UVA that's stimulating, that cholesterol, converting that cholesterol over to vitamin D. So that's important. You want to be outside in the AM.
Infrared.
The infrared light.
That red sun.
Yeah, the red sun structures the plasma in the water. And even when you look into Kemet, I'm always referring to Kemet, but ISIS is referred to as structured plasma. the glyph on the wall is a throne, but the throne scientifically represents structured plasma in the body by way of Heru, her son. So in order for you to receive, let's just say, and we'll talk about this as well, sound from the stars or information from the stars, you have to basically go outside and allow the infrared light to structure the plasma in the body, so that way you can adhere to a higher level of stellar information. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Right.
important. That's key. Every time I go outside, I put my my water out in the in the outside when the sun is out, because the infrared light is what structures the water. And people who don't know what structured water is, in a nutshell, it's like literally where the water becomes polarized, where it develops a positive charge and a negative charge. It becomes like a battery, and it forms what you call an easy layer, the letter E and the letter Z, and then layer, to where it removes all the purities, and makes it exclusive. So it creates an easy layer to where it separates all the impurities in the water from the refined version of the water in the jar. And so that way, again, you create a polarity within the water to where the water now is naturally charged. So when you drink that, then again, you're charging the body and structuring the water in the body. So that way, again, you can adhere to a more, charged, charged body in and of itself.
Right. Peace, Jefferson. Was good, my brother. A brother wanted to know, can he ground on rocks? He's in Arizona.
Ground on rocks?
Yeah, on the rocks instead of the quote. You know how Arizona is more rocky and whatnot versus those lawns that we have in the South.
I mean, I would say so, to be quite honest with you. I mean, rocks are living as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, rocks have crystals. Rocks have the ability to be charged up. But it's all relative to what type of rocks. If you're talking about the West, the geographical location of Arizona, a lot of the rocks are alive in those type of environments. I'm in the Midwest. Technically, I would be in the grass, but if you're in the West Coast, I mean, the rocks are important too, but don't avoid, putting your feet in the grass. The planet is a capacitor. I always speak on that. It's a capacitor. So when you plug in, you're not only plugging in to the earth itself, but you're tapping into the magnetic field of the earth in its totality. What I'm saying? We're electro
grids.
Right. You're tapping into the grid. So we're electromagnetic by nature. So naturally you want to plug your feet into the grass. But if you don't have the ability to do it, the next step would either be soil or sand on the beach or rocks. But make sure you have your shoes off, because again, you want to adhere to that charge that the planet is delivering.
Somebody wanted to know, when it's inconvenient to remove your shoes, it is advisable to ground with your hands. Could we do it with our hands?
Yeah, I do that. That's what so I plug my feet in the grass and then I plug my hands in the grass. That's what creates that alternating current in the body, AC current. It almost forms like a loop. So to get
I'm glad I asked that question, because goddamn it. We didn't know we were supposed to be curling on our hands and shit like that. Like, that's like a yoga pose, right?
Yeah.
So
you don't even gotta crawl though. Just plant,
Just plant, right? Just
plant. Just like
put it right there. Boom.
What do they call it in yoga? It's a name that
downward doggy, I think.
Something like that. Yeah. But you want
all of my yoga heads. What's that called?
Yeah, you said it right, I think. But if you're not planting your feet in the grass, your hands just work just as much. Again, the idea is you're receiving, because the center of the earth is hot, so you're receiving negative ions that are coming through the earth, through the surface up into the feet, and then past the lymphatic system, and then electrifying the plasma in the body. But also too, is pulling inflammation out of the body. So being outside, and they have hundreds of studies on this, but standing outside for 15-20 minutes bare feet is pulling inflammation out of the body. So and that's because it's electrifying the body. So yeah, that's key.
5 things that we can do now that we're closely entering the season of summer. We're in spring right now. 5 things that we can do for free to charge our electrified bodies. Can you give us that?
Yeah, I mean, one thing, wake up and arising, make sure you're sun gazing,
Right.
stimulating, more specifically, the thalamus in the brain, which is going to give you a higher level of cognition.
Is it done like this?
Is
Do
it
you
done?
recommend? Do you recommend? Because I sun gaze, I cover one eye, and I sun gaze, and then I cover the other eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it be tearing and everything.
Nah, it is still serve the same purpose.
Okay.
Same purpose. So sun gazing and arising, of course, was free, right? Plugging your bare feet in the grass, same concept. Making sure that you're putting your water in a mason jar and sitting it outside for about 2 or 3 hours and make sure that infrared light is hitting it. Um, and me personally, I'm taking the herbs, the minerals, the gold water, right? So you want to add those minerals and everything to your body because that's what modulates the frequencies in the body.
Right.
Gold water specifically has the transition metals in it. So when I'm talking about transition metals, I'm talking about gold, ruthenium, platinum, silver. All of these things are the transition metals in your brain that allow you to even think. The same metals that are in computers that allow them to process, right?
Right.
So when you take these minerals and you put them in the body, not only does it electrify the hydrogen in the body, but also too, it increases the transition metals in the brain to allow you to be more of a cohesive thinker. So, that's something that I apply as well as the herbs, the gold water,
Right.
minerals. I got my phyto omega 3s coming in from KT.
Right.
All of these things. So that's a key factor in it as well. And and I wouldn't necessarily even say that's free, but I just want to throw that in there because that's an important factor when you really want to charge up, because a lot of us charge up, but we can't hold the charge. So we'll be outside
Right.
in the sun charging up. As soon as we go inside, that charge begins to delineate. But in order to maintain it, you got to have the equipment in the body in order to, modulate the frequencies and things that you just tacked on while you were outside. So that's key, and making sure you're applying that as well as the minerals, the herbs, and things of that nature.
Okay. And real quick, yes, if anybody that's asking about the gold, he's talking about the gold water, one of blue pill and 19 Keys products and whatnot. So this is not free. This is, this is a ticket. You know what I mean? However, we are going to invest in our temples. We're going to invest in our health and wellness. Yeah, I'm talking about. But yeah, let's go.
Yeah. And so just to backtrack, like I said, sun gazing and rising, that's one. Making sure you're putting your bare feet in the grass, that's two, because
Right.
again, charge from the planet itself, which is a capacitor. Making sure you're putting your jar, your mason jar full of water outside to structure the water so the water can become a battery. So that way, when you drink it, you're charging the plasma in the body. Just spending time in nature in general. Naturally outside, when you're in nature, you're dealing with fractal symmetry, which means the magnetic flux in those areas are very, very intense. So that's why even, in the ancient times, they would build monuments and things of that nature out in nature because they understand the magnetic flux is a lot more intense in those environments. So just being out in nature, just spending time with nature. When you're in nature, you have an abundant amount of negative ions that are around. So when you're taking those in, you're increasing your capacitance as well. And, those are pretty much the key factors as far as just free wise, if you really want to maintain the charge in the body and electrify it. And, something that I always do on the daily, of course, is read, because as I spoke on in the past, how Western society gauges somebody's intelligence is based on the thickness of their dendrites, right? But they also understand when you deep dive and you do the research and you study something, and say if the book is hard and you can't really get through it, it's hard to comprehend, you continue to work
Right.
through it, because again, the brain is a muscle and it sees that as a cognitive challenge. So the same thing it does with a fast, it begins to activate what you call adaptive stress response pathways. This leads into the strengthening of the dendrites to where they get thicker, which by default you develop a larger neural network in the brain. And with a larger neural network, that again gives you the capacity to process more information that is coming from solar flares and things of that nature to electrify the body. So reading a book and studying isn't something, that goes uncertain. That's something that is actually having a physiological effect in the body. And that is, that's something key too that I want to point out as well. We're going to talk about in the lecture, in Illustrious Illumination, because a lot of people, they get audio books and things of that nature and listen that way, but it's like, it's a different type of relationship. When you actually put money in to order a book, you wait for the book comes in, and then you're sitting down, flipping through pages and engaging in it, on a whole different level. That's different from doing an audio book. When you're reading, having a different relationship by flipping through the pages and things of that nature, highlighting, etc. Like I said, that's causing a physiological effect in the body, which is, literally rewriting the brain to allow you to become a whole brain thinker. So that's we're going to talk about that science in the lecture.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because on April 30th is the day we open up our book club on KTLUniversity.com. We're going to be opening up the book club during class. So that is excellent that you bring that up. We have in our selection, some very interesting titles, definitely titles that will help, spin those wheels and get you thinking and whatnot. And I do agree with the assessment that you just shared about the difference between the audio books and the books that you just basically, dive in and whatnot. It's a different, the information is received differently. Feel me? It's definitely received differently. It's almost like listening to a lecture versus reading the notes to a Phil Valentine lecture. Remember, he used to go into the yellow pad and whatnot and read from his notes. Yep. Imagine if he came out with like when I read The Wounded Womb, it was unlike any Phil lecture that I've ever, quote unquote, listened to. I was very much enthralled in the information, and I was going over it numerous times. And, it hit differently.
No, yeah, it hits different. And, you form a different relationship with the information, in general, when you're reading a book and engaging with it with yourself, because you're not getting it from a secondhand experience. It's not coming from somebody teaching you per se. You're actually having to involve yourself in articulating the language, saying the words, saying certain tones, which begin to brain, everything. There's a science.
Imagination kicks in even deeper.
Right.
Somebody wanted, yeah.
No. Go ahead.
I had a question. There's a lot of questions coming from the chat. Shout out to the chat. I love an active, audience and whatnot. And I love intelligent questions. So, the fact that they're engaged in this conversation and they're throwing out questions to edify what it is that they're hearing is very important. Brother Luke Cage wanted to know, you talked about the bones being a crystal. Does weightlifting benefit the bones, or is it detrimental?
Weightlifting benefits the bones.
Yes.
Like I spoke on, the bones are piezoelectric. And for those who don't know what piezoelectric is, your bones have a piezoelectric effect to it. If you were to take a crystal, right, like our bones are, the crystals, if you were to take a regular crystal, and they got videos on YouTube on it and everything, but if you were to take a regular crystal and apply pressure to it, right, and typically on YouTube they have it in the dark so you can see it, but the crystal, turn the lights off and then begin to apply pressure. They either start drilling like a drill into it or something like that, and you'll know, it'll begin to spark, it begin to light up, and it's developing charge. So our bones have a piezoelectric effect to it. So when you apply compression or stress to the body, more specifically the bones, they generate a charge, which then begins to create more red blood cells or stem cells, which begins to create more, make the bones more dense, right?
Yes.
So, lifting weights, is definitely important. And, that's it. And we'll speak about this too in the lecture as well, but gravity because, you know, our body, our physical, you know, environment that we exist in is dealing with gravity. So when you're lifting weights, you know, you get to about 10 to 11 reps, that gravity begins to take over. But how the ancestors looked at gravity is they understood gravity was a dielectric acceleration, it's charge acceleration, right? So we exist within a black hole. And evidence is that evidence of that is when I throw something up in the air and it comes down. You
Yes.
that's the evidence of it. But more specifically, it's a toroidal geometry that we exist in. And when we're talking about gravity, we're talking about a force or a pressure, which is actually information coming in that we turn to when we begin to lift weight. So they looked at dielectric acceleration as a force that we utilize to build up the body, right? Because if we didn't have, you know, think about it, if we didn't have gravity, then how would we build muscle? You know,
Right.
so yeah, lifting weights is definitely important for the bones. Absolutely.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I want to double back about the audio books because I don't want to sink anybody's ships and whatnot.
Right.
We were definitely taught by some of the master teachers the benefits of audio books when sleeping, how it programs the subconsciousness. So for anybody that's out there that, you know, that's a practice that you've been practicing, I would say to continue to practice it. Do not be, you know, don't feel like you're doing something wrong and whatnot. You know, the subconscious that definitely picks up on the information. I used to go to sleep to binaural beats and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love to do that. I really don't do that too much because I try to keep the electronics out of the room, out of the bedroom altogether. You know what I mean? I don't want no Bluetooth, no Wi-Fi's going off. You know, I just like to kick it in the dark, especially having a 2-year-old and whatnot.
Thanks.
Got to make sure that we don't have all of those frequencies flying around. But for the family that does the audio books, when you go to sleep, continue to do that. However, we are encouraging you to go back to what has worked for us for thousands of years. And that is definitely putting your nose in a book. You know what I mean? Pick up a book. You know, let's not forget about the art of reading books and taking it all in. There's another question that somebody wanted to know. How long do you let the water charge in the sun? They just want to, you know, some time. They want to gauge.
Right. 2 hours minimum. 2 hours minimum. I mean,
2 hours minimum. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's what begins again. The infrared light begins to structure the waters, but 2 hours minimum.
Right. And another thing that wasn't mentioned when we were talking about the 5 things that we can do. Did you mention breath work, the breathing work,
I
deep
didn't.
breathing?
Oh, I didn't. Breath work, key piece
Key.
work. Yeah, chi. You know, the breath, of course, electrifies the body. What we're breathing in is electricity, what they call oxygen today, but it's electricity. And
Right.
you know, the language, of course, has to be switched up because, like I've said in the past, when you tell people who are semiconductors that they're breathing in electricity, it's a whole different ball game, right?
Right.
Breathing in electricity, which, you know, is keeping us alive. It's electrifying our bodies. Um,
Right.
you know, so being more strategic on the way that you breathe is key. And you know, the body itself again is a crystal, more specifically the pineal gland, based on it having calcite crystals in it. When you breathe a certain way, you create a certain level of compression on the pineal gland, which goes to that piezoelectric effect. So that mechanical stress on the pineal gland is converted into a charge in the body. And that's why they always say to make sure that when you're breathing, you're being very strategic on the way that you breathe. So that way you can elevate and down regulate that charge through the body on a regular basis. So yeah, breathing is definitely.
I seen some videos where people have been breathing, bro. That shit had me like, fam. It was almost like, you know, the movement that they were doing whence breathing. It was like a dance in a sense. You feel me?
Yeah, and me personally, I got to get more into that science because I mean, yeah, I've seen that. I've seen when people like strategically do breath work, and I'm like, it gets like real, you know, technical. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a science to it, but also to understanding what we're breathing. Like I said, we're breathing in what they call chi or, you know, oxygen. We're breathing in electricity. Um,
Right.
and just to, jump back to the sun real quick in reference to electrifying the body. I spoke on this too in the past as well, is that when you're outside and you're getting that infrared light is stimulating the nitrogen in the body to open up like a vacuum, right?
Right.
Black holes. So when you're outside and that nitrogen is initiated, that's what allows the electricity to flow through the body. And when you're actually feeling heat, you're feeling electricity surging through the body. And that is something that I'm going to speak about, because it's going to begin to change our perception on the way that we see our outer reality in reference to receiving light from the sun, because we're not necessarily receiving light from the sun. It's actually the sun creating a disturbance within the primordial waters, what we call counter space, that is actually initiating what you call a perturbation. And a perturbation is equivalent to when you drop a rock into a pond. That rock will be the sun, and then what it generates is those gravitational waves. So you're not necessarily feeling light coming from the sun, you're feeling the waves that the sun is actually creating based on creating a disturbance within the waters. So you're feeling a different rate of motion within the substance that we live in, what our ancestors called the primordial waters, and what they call today the superfluid quantum environment, or quantum soup, or things of that. But we'll talk about that, because that is something that I gotta give to the family, because then it's going to give you a better perspective on our relationship to the sun. And me and Blue speak about it a lot. You have the capacity to initiate solar flares. That's what they're talking about in reference to Ptah, more specifically plasma discharges. But it's understanding that we live within a substance, the same substance that the sun actually exists in as well. And when we do certain work within the physical reality, when we have certain conversations, that actually creates a plasma discharge on the sun. But that's understanding, again.
You just said when we have certain conversations, it creates plasma discharges on the sun, fam. Right. That's what you just told me.
That's fact. Yeah, that's what they're speaking about with Ptah. And we'll talk about it. But yeah, when you have an understanding that we live in a fluid-like environment that the sun lives in too, you have an instantaneous connection to the sun. So we're gonna get into that.
Look, family, hold on a minute real quick, man. Shameless plug, man. Let's take a commercial break. Look, on Saturn Day, which is next week or next strong end, right? 11 a.m. in the early rising, so you could retain this information and you're not on nod time and whatnot. You get your CMOS and you get up and you let the sun hit you. You get this information. We're going to be doing another monumental class, one for the record books, the illustrious illumination, featuring my good brother ALKEBULAN44, dropping these bombs, my geniuses. KTLUniversity.com. Please make sure you in the building. KTLUniversity.com. If I have any students from our last class, put an emoji, a fire emoji in the chat and whatnot. Y'all already know what we delivered. When was that? That was last month, right? That was wait, what we in? April? Yeah, that was the month before. We was in March getting it in.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, we was getting it in. So yeah, let's tap in. Let's make sure we are in class. This brother is here upgrading all of us. You feel me? With this information. This information is for all of us. This information will benefit the collective at the end of the day. Y'all know my saying. You don't want to be in the room where you the smartest person in the room. However, when you in a room with some smart people, you're gonna want to know, when you open your mouth, you're gonna want them to pay attention. You're gonna want to hold their attention with your conversation. You need to be able to upgrade the lexicon and the things that we're talking about and whatnot. So we are here for the education of our network, you know what I mean, for the edification of our teachers and whatnot. You feel me? So yeah, man, KTLUniversity.com. We are going to be in the building next strong on Saturn Day in the Rising, 11 a.m. Eastern and whatnot. And it will be recorded, of course, and it will be available for replay. So everybody that's in the building, you can rewind, pause, and do all of those things. Shout out to Blue Pillar, who just did a monumental presentation, the Law 44, the War Report. That's 6 hours long. That's also on KTL University. The replay is available. The boy went in, he tapped in, he tapped so deep in that he spoke about the solar flares and the significance of the solar flares. And then the next day, there was a solar flare that came out of nowhere, one of the biggest solar flares that have been recorded this year and whatnot. So, you know, Blue is, you know, just like what you said, conversations could have the sun go erupting and whatnot, just based off of basically, that part. You know what I'm talking about? So, you know, proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, so that's something we're gonna definitely talk about. Again, the title is The Illustrious Illumination. So we're, you know, again, we're going into the anatomy, the connection to the anatomy with the cosmos, how you have and hold dominion over the cosmos, and you know how your ancestors understood that you are a universe unto yourself. So if that's the case, and you serve as a microcosm to the macrocosm, you can create a certain reference point for the macrocosm to see you as such, and going to adhere to, you know, whatever command you make. You know, so that's what we're going to talk about. And this is going to be, again, information that is given to you that you can demonstrate in real time. Same concept, you know, that I deliver on IG via, you know, who follow me via colors and numbers, you know, taking a universal algorithm, a current universal algorithm, and crystallize it through numbers and colors. And when you see the certain patterns, I encourage everybody to adhere to it, because that's what naturally tethers you to the cosmic script by following cosmic law. Because when you qualify something to be as such based on your own perception of it, that's how you follow your own laws, because you're qualifying yourself not only as a creator within this physical reality, but you know, you're adhering to, again, cosmic law. And cosmic law is just following your own law. And when you follow your own laws, supernatural things happen for you. So
Beautiful. Hold on.
To this day.
So
to this day.
Question from the chat: if we speak on water, can you speak about the difference in alkaline waters? I stick to Fiji because I tested it, but I can't tell anymore by pH. You have any information when it comes to the alkaline waters by any chance?
I mean, you know, that's a craze in and of itself. I mean, of course, you know, alkaline water you want to drink, you know, because when you're talking about pH, you're actually talking about liquid voltage. You're talking about potential hydrogen more specifically, you know. So when you're looking at, you know, or say you're in a grocery store and you're looking at the pH and then you're gauging it on the number, you always want to make sure that you maintain it around 7.8, 8 being probably the highest for me personally, because bleach is alkaline. You know what I'm saying? Bleach, 12 alkaline. You know, so you see when you in a store and you start to see these waters get super crazy with the high alkaline and
9.8.
Yeah, you want to you want to stay and see that's a trick bag, because I think the high number that you drinking, you getting a lot more healthier from the, you know, truth. So, you know, you just want to maintain a regular, you know, balance and not get too crazy. Like I said, the best way to charge your water is to put it out in the sun.
Facts. And structured water, well water, you know what I mean? That's ultimately like from springs and whatnot. Somebody also said it's not about the pH, it's about the minerals in the water. How you feel about that?
That too, you know, that's important as well. I mean, of course, the pH is important too, you know, but our body is acid based. So, you know, that's a whole different conversation that we'll touch on, you know, on another build. But our bodies are acid based. We have amino acids. Acids are what captures, you know, the electrons. It what regulates the body, you know, more so. You know, and you want to make sure that you create a good balance. You know, our body is acid and, you know, alkaline base. But again, when you're going for alkaline water, you just want to maintain a healthy balance of it and not get too crazy with it. The mineral is important as well. And, you know, they both work hand in hand. But like I said, the more natural way to do it, sit your water outside and structure it. I mean, that's,
Beautiful, beautiful. Have you ever did a show with Uncle Hank?
I haven't, but I'm familiar with Uncle Hank.
Okay.
That's
All
something
right.
that's something that we gotta do. I've seen him. You know, I know he was on Brother Rich, well, I think yesterday. But I seen his last show. You know, he be going in, you know, with the
Metatron?
yeah. No, I didn't watch that one. I watched the one prior to it. But I got
Oh, well, he was with the crystals and everything.
yeah,
Had
yeah,
all of it. Yeah, yeah. And the xenon light bulbs and shit.
yeah. I got to tap into it. I'm familiar with it. You know, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And you know what he's presenting is physical. You know, objects that you know our ancestors were actually using. When we're talking about ankhs, when we're talking about scepters, wajets, yeah,
Yeah,
they're those as you know power tools, right?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
yeah, they will hold them.
Superconductors.
Superconductors, exactly.
Superconductors.
Knowing that the melanin was photoreceptive, right? Knowing that the melanin was a semiconductor, you know, they would hold ankhs. You know, they would bury themselves in electrically conductive material, so that way they can tap into a higher, you know, dimension, higher realms, a higher frequency. So, yeah,
Right.
that he's bringing the physicality when it comes to electromagnetics. And you know, for those who know who've been following me, know I'm in school for mechatronic engineering, so I'm you know way too familiar with what he's doing and demonstrating. But yeah,
Right.
something that he's bringing that's super important, super important.
Yeah, I might have to put y'all two together, you know what I mean, and create a new algorithm.
Yeah,
That's important. You
no,
feel me? Yeah,
yeah,
that's important.
yeah, that's already been on my mind. That brother, it's him and it's another one that Blue introduced me to. I can't remember his name. He's a
Human?
no human. I know human. I know him.
Okay.
But he's an elder. He's an elder. He's in New York, and I can't remember his name. But he,
Oh, Lester Lovin.
Mr. Lovin, Mr. Lovin.
Lester Lovin is a legend. Yeah, Lester Lovin is a legend, man.
That's somebody else I got to get with as well. But yeah, when these teachers are coming with these light bulbs and things of that nature, like take heed to it. You know what I'm saying? It may be uncomfortable for certain people because they're not too familiar with it. But like I said, my background is in that in electrical engineering, so I'm familiar with what they're demonstrating. But
Right.
even in one of my favorite books, the Ankh, the African Origins of Electromagnetism, they talk
Yeah.
about all of that in there. You know what I'm saying? All the Ankhs that they use, why they used it, how the lie detector test came from studying electrical current running through the skin to determine
Mm,
if somebody's lying or not. Like that, all that science came from ancient Kemet. You know,
right.
so yeah, both of those brothers are bringing it, when it comes to the electromagnetic aspect of it.
Nah, that's what's up, man. Shout out to all of my brothers. Shout out to KT the Arch degree. That's another pairing that's gonna break the
We,
internet.
yeah,
Huh?
that's
Uh,
yeah, that's
just really like for real, like, my shout out to all of the scientists.
yeah,
R&D budget is long overdue. Research and development, R&D budget is long overdue. A wet lab, access to some wet labs is long overdue. I feel that brothers such as myself and Blue, the brother Riches of the world, and some other people, I almost feel responsible for building that, for getting to this, getting to the budget, like opening up budgets and whatnot, and
man,
creating an environment to whereas brothers such as yourself, the Hanks, Uncle Hanks of the world, the KTs of the world, the Lester Lovings of the world could really get, what you need, you know what I mean? Because this is imperative at the end of the day. Like, y'all, I feel like y'all hold the key, you know what I'm saying? Y'all really hold the key. And
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
you
And
know, it doesn't just help that y'all hold the keys and we're sitting back and we know this and we're watching and what are we watching and waiting for? It's time to make moves because at the end of the day, if you belong to any other nationality or any other network, shit would be different. You feel me?
right,
You
right,
know,
right, and I 100% agree. The medical industry obviously is not based on the biology of a melanated person, you know, so we need labs and things of that nature that, you know, is conducive for people like us because we're completely different people, right? So yeah, I definitely agree. You know, creating environments that's conducive for the black body to walk into and just immediately get charged like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
By having certain things around on certain ley lines that charge the environment up, you know, so that way we know there's a place out there that we can go and immediately charge up and heal. You know what I'm saying? So, um,
Right.
you know, we've been in talks about that as well. And yeah, that's something that we definitely got to get into. Definitely got to tap into.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we're in, you know, we're in this window of time. We're in this pocket of time where inventions are taking place. You know, the energy that's on the planet is a creative energy. It's a disruptive energy. Henceforth, we're seeing the rise of the Web3s, the metaverse. You know, all of this new technology is evolving. It's not coming out of nowhere. It's just evolving from older technology.
Older technology, right?
Yeah, this shit is not coming. Like they've been working on virtual for decades upon decades. Like this is not new.
Yeah.
Nothing that, you know what I mean. Even with this cryptocurrency and all of that, that's none of this shit is new. Okay, you know they had you know, creating your own currencies was something that the Moors, we were talking about this 10 years ago, and they had the Ithaca dollar. You know, they had all of these communities that were creating their own currencies. The fact that the white papers were written, Satoshi Nakamoto and whatnot, and he put that white paper out in 2008. You know, that was a shift. However, with the genius that we have amongst us, you know, I already know that we could do more than that. You know what I'm talking about? Because people are creating new realities with white papers, just with their ideas. You know what I mean? So I just feel like we're in this age right now where the new inventors are amongst us, and it's time to begin to invent some new things. You know, you know, I'm gonna make that one of my life's journeys. You know what I mean? To make sure that the geniuses that are amongst us never get snatched up by these corporations. We never have to experience what is called brain drain. You know what I mean? Where Apple, Google, Facebook, and other companies like Lockheed Martin, you know what I mean, and Rayvon and all of that, they snatch the geniuses amongst us and they use them to build weapons and shit like that for them. And they finance them, and they take them away from our communities, and they're never to be seen again. What do you think happens to all of those young children that are like geniuses that they put into Mensa, the Mensa academies? They snatch them up. You know what I mean? Those are brain drain. They're part of the brain drain. They never come back to us. They actually develop things that work against us as a community and as a people. So, you know, we'll continue to have these conversations, but I'm just publicly putting it out there that you know, it's time for us to really develop some budgets, research and development budgets, wet labs, so brothers could really do research for real and make some real breakthroughs. And these scientists that we have amongst us could be together and work collaborative to make some shit happen. You know what I'm talking about? To make some shit happen. The crypto that we made is called the Netaverse. Neterverse. Netaverse. Yeah, Netaverse. You know what I mean? Built with life insurance and death bonds on the stock market. Interesting. Built with spoke. Yeah, that's a good idea that you have there. You could expound on that. You know what I mean? We could definitely expound on that. Shout out to my good brother Rob Moses. I seen what you wrote about the fact that you study the electromagnetic fields. The email to get in contact with us is right here. You could definitely hit us up on the email, redpillar75 at Proton Mail. Send me anything that you have, and we could create a conversation. All right. The link to the Netaverse Discord, if y'all want to sign up to the Netaverse Discord and get all of the information about what we're doing over in the Netaverse, the link is right here. Okay. Let me bring my good brother back in. All right, my boy. You good?
Yeah, no. They said the temperature got hot. The phone got hot, overheated.
Yeah, that happens to me sometimes. I'm surprised you came back so quick.
I'm surprised I did too. But yeah, we back on now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So we're not gonna be here super long. We're not gonna be here super long. Like I said, I wanted you to just, let the people know what they have to expect on the 30th, what they have to look forward to, and also touch on some of the things that are going on in the cosmos, you know what I mean? In the last few days or the last few weeks and whatnot. You feel
mhm,
me?
mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, just to touch base, again, the illustrious illumination, the name itself, gives it up. We're talking about the fact that first of all, we're electromagnetically based, right? We're electromagnetic. In our heart is what is responsible for producing the magnetic field that we produce, by way of
right,
mitochondria in the heart. And the mitochondria is something that we'll touch on as well, but that's the powerhouse. We all hear people say that's the powerhouse, of the
right,
cells, or the battery to the cells, but the mitochondria is what produces the light in the body by way of ATP, because when you have ATP, you have adenosine triphosphate, and when that phosphorus in the body oxidizes inside the plasma in the body, it combusts and releases light, and
right,
that light is what the cells use in order to process the information that you took on during the day in reference to the sun. And it's what the cells use to communicate. And that light that we're talking about more specifically is called longitudinal, or what they call scalar energy. It's instantaneous action at a distance. So the light in our body moves in a transverse way, or it moves in what you call a longitudinal way. And that's action at a distance. So, that's something that we'll speak on as well, because I spoke on it earlier in the video. It's an environment that we exist in. The sun exists in it. We exist in it. And scientists say it's a fluid-like environment. It acts like
right,
water. We live in a more refined version of water. So when we understand that, then again, we're dealing with longitudinal waves, which is instantaneous action at a distance. And
mm,
you have the capacity to manipulate the sun wherever you're at, based on
right,
you both existing in this environment. So, again, it's about adhering to certain levels of information, having certain dialogues, because it's your dialect. And I love how Kambada said it. I give it up to him for saying this, but he said your dialect manipulate, or what he say? He referenced the dielectric field, and then he said the dialect. But it's the dielectric field of what we're talking about, that fluid-like environment. But it's your dialect that manipulates the dielectric field, right? So
mm,
that is something that we're going to get into, because I feel like it's important for our people to understand that we hold dominion over the cosmos. And we can naturally make things happen here in this physical world by utilizing stellar energy, or stellar light. So the illustrious illumination is all about light and manipulating light to allow it to better and benefit your physical reality, but first understanding the mechanics and a more optological way of seeing how reality really works. So when you can get a grasp on, again, us existing in a dielectric field, a fluid-like environment, then that'll give you a grips, as to actually manipulate your reality, and again, change it at will. So the
right.
illustrious illumination is information, again, that we're presenting that's utilizable in real time. And again, it's important for us now to begin to push the needle forward and start to, dabble and tap into some higher level metaphysics.
Hell yeah. You got
You know?
summer 22 around the corner. You know what I mean? We we
Yeah.
got to make this one for the record books. You feel me? We got to make
That's a,
this one for the record book. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna field about 3 questions from the audience, if that's okay with you. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And yeah, we're gonna field about 3 questions from the audience, and we'll answer those questions, and then we out of here. Okay. So first question is, so are we drawing from the dialectic field with our words? I rap so I get it, but when alone, I prefer to do everything mentally. Rituals on down, I create a universe in my head. Excellent question, Divine Dre.
Was that a question?
Yes, he wanted to know basically when you were saying the word, he's
Mhm.
saying that he creates a lot of things without the word in his head. You know what I mean? He prefers to do a lot of things mentally versus verbally. So if if we're manipulating that dialectic field with our dialect, how does that work?
I mean, the information, as far as your thinking, your thought, is coming from the dielectric field. You're just articulating what's coming through, right,
Right.
via the dielectric field.
Right.
So, when you're dealing with thought, you're dealing with information that already exists within the dielectric field. So that's why things may come a little quicker when you're utilizing the mind, because the mind is attached. The mind is itself the dielectric field, to be quite honest with you, because it's your
Right.
magnetic field that adheres to it. But when you're speaking, you're just stepping down the frequency to a point where it's coming out through invocation or tone, which is then impeding or imprinting back into the dielectric field. Like, we're always upgrading the dielectric field because we vibrate and flicker in and out of existence through the law of vibration. So you're always teaching the universe what it is based on the level of information that you're taking on in this physical reality. So with that being said, the fact that you're utilizing the mind, is important too. But the key
Right.
factor as well is speaking as well, because when you speak, you're imprinting and upgrading the dielectric field, which is pure potential, or again, the primordial waters. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So my question to you would be,
Mhm.
when let's say that we do one of the 5 practices that you initially brought up, grounding, sun gazing, deep breathing, do we also throw in affirmations along, speaking affirmations, the I ams, I am God, I am health, I am wealth, I am love.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Words again are
Program our water, right? Program
program
the
the water.
temple.
Yeah, program the water, right?
Right.
Program the waters. And again, because we exist in a more refined version of water, we're programming that water. So as we continue to bounce in and out of existence faster than the speed of light, what we're affirming, the universe has to acquiesce to, because again, you're following cosmic law. And when you follow your own dictates based on your own perception of something, the universe will naturally acquiesce to it, because you're acknowledging yourself as a creator. And
Right.
thus, as you acknowledge yourself as a creator, you're imitating the creator, which thus the creator is going to refine or reflect its essence back to you, and it's going to continue to demonstrate that. So it's a two-way communication street. So the more you affirm that are God, and that you are, the best, I don't know, let's just say the best rapper alive, or you are this and that, you are confident, you have a high level self-esteem, you say all these things to yourself, the universe has to acquiesce to that, that disposition, because
Right.
again, it's not something that's been handed to you, you're invoking it on your own.
Right.
And like I said, we are all universes unto ourselves. So the more we continue to evoke these things and speak it, these affirmations, we're imprinting that information into the dielectric field. Thus, the dielectric field is upgrading itself, getting to know more of itself. So it's going to refer back to you, because it's seeing you as you acknowledging yourself as a creator.
Mm. Wow. Okay. Hold on.
To this day,
Gotta-
to this day,
Is it our heart or our gut that is responsible for our magnetic field aura?
It's both, to be honest with you. It's
Yes.
both. It's both. But the ancestors would, of course, keep the heart in the body and remove all the organs upon the physical body dropping, because they understood that the heart is what generates the magnetic field. So the magnetic field was able to maintain itself based on the physical body being electrically conductive. So that way, now the magnetic field didn't have to utilize the physical body anymore. It could just return back to a plasma field, or what we call a star, on its own, with all the
Right.
information intact that you took on in this physical reality. Because everything you process is stored in that magnetic field, but that comes by way of your heart. And all the information that you process, even down to the red blood cells. The red blood cells is what translates that information into the heart and stores it there as a memory, which is your magnetic field. But everything in the body is electrically magnetic. and you have neurotransmitters, neurons in the gut and stomach and things of that nature. But the main magnetic field, and even down to doing certain things here in this physical reality, whether it's working out, more specifically working out, because when you're lifting and building muscle, you're building more mitochondria in the heart and in the brain, which then builds up a stronger magnetic field. So, when you have a stronger magnetic field, you have a capacity to literally tap into more information, because all of your existence exists within that magnetic field. It's no different than somebody getting a concussion. When somebody gets a concussion, they aren't able to process a certain level of information. But when that part of the brain begins to heal, they'll notice they'll begin to process it again,
Right,
and
it
even
comes
more
back.
information, because
Right.
it's just the brain healing itself to now being able to acquiesce to, the magnetic field again, which is where all your information is stored. So yeah, the magnetic field comes and stems mainly from the heart.
Third question: can fasting heal porn addiction?
I would say so. I would say it does. I would say it does, because when you're fasting, your body is returning back to a place of homeostasis, right? So when you allow your body to return back to a place of homeostasis, you allow the cells, because we're just an amalgamation of cells.
Right.
We're trillions and trillions of cells made up to look like who we look like in the mirror, but we're trillions of cells put together. The original source of nutrition for cells is light. So as you begin to fast, naturally the cells are going to acquiesce to a place of homeostasis, where they want their original source of nutrition, not only nutrition, but original source of information, original source of light. So
Right.
that is by way of the sun. So naturally, also when you fast, there's a self-reflection that takes place by way of discontinuing the signal input from the brain, and now the brain is taking on information that it already has within it while you're fasting, to now you're visualizing a lot more, you're self-reflecting a lot more, because you're not focused too much on the outer reality, right?
Right.
So
Right.
in essence, with that being said, with fasting not only from food, but now you're fasting from porn, which you'll recognize once you get out of the fast, even your desire to want to go back to porn is going to be obsolete, because again, the body has now returned back to a place where it originally was, and now it's looking for what it originally uses for, again, a source of food, a source of just nutrition and information in general. So
Right.
yeah, I would definitely say fasting helps that. Absolutely.
Right. Interesting. Okay. We got our good brother, Black Magic 363. Father Rich is in the building with a powerful question. He wants to know, have you ever had an out of body experience and programmed your avatar from the outside looking in?
No, I haven't had that. I haven't had that, but I know that's a science. That's definitely a science, and that, of course, that taps into like remote viewing, but that is a sign of somebody who is going through a process called phase conjugation. And I spoke on this as well. This is something I'm gonna touch on in the lecture too. But it's a process of what you call optimized translation of vorticity, basically allowing your magnetic field to constructively embed within itself. And when it can do that, it can maintain itself outside the physical body. So that way, now without the physical body being needed to maintain the magnetic field, you now have full control over the information that's stored within the magnetic field, now being able to, repair the physical body before you return back to it. But it's a science called phase conjugation. And by way of optimized translation of vorticity, the magnetic field is adhering to itself. So it's folding in on itself, developing a higher level of intelligence, because literally it becomes a condenser of information. And if you can think of a toroidal field moving like this, the faster it moves, it's able to maintain and self-sustain itself to where now it doesn't need the physical body no longer. So now it's almost looking outside of itself with all the information intact, to now it can begin to repair the physical body, because it doesn't no longer need the physical body. But once it returns back to the physical body, you'll notice that you'll wake up with more levels of information, because your magnetic field has literally took the information that exists when, again, in what you call the dielectric field, and stored it within itself. So, yeah.
Ooh, damn, hold on.
Like I said, we
Yeah.
gonna touch on it April 30th. You know, we really just scratching the surface. I'm just throwing out key terms, but we gonna dig deep into the science, so that way people can have a bit better visual of what I'm speaking about.
My answer to Rich would have just been smoke some good sativa, my nigga. Like that's what I'd have been like, go water and sativa, Rich. Yeah, go program it. You took it there.
Yeah,
Somebody said that you were a library,
I'm a library. I don't know.
Alexandria on you know what I mean, on wheels, my nigga.
Look, I mean, my name is, technically Alex. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of fits a little bit, but
There you go.
but yeah, like I said, we're gonna utilize information, and I'm doing my just due, to continue to really dive deep into the science, because it's a whole nother ball game and a whole nother level of information that I've come across within the last couple of months that I know our people aren't too privy to. But it's science that's
Right,
coming directly off the walls in Kemet, and
right,
science that they were privy to. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
we again are really going to tap in and understand the mechanics of reality, so that way we can, initially affect it in real time. So, we're gonna
Right.
tap in.
Look, Rich said that he he said he did it when he took some edibles. You feel me? So I already know. I already know. I knew what I was talking about. Make
Yeah,
sure everybody that's listening to this tonight that y'all go and listen to the show that Blue Pill did with Cambada on Black Magic 363, where they were speaking about words create worlds. That was a high level dissertation that just took place. Both of the brothers, all three of them were going
I
super
seen.
deep. They were going
Yeah,
all the way in from the gate.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
you
And
know,
no, go ahead, Red. Go ahead. Go ahead.
nah, you go ahead.
Nah, he was. I just wanted to veggie back off of what you said. I seen that dissertation on Brother Rich's show with Cambada and Blue. One thing they spoke about at the beginning was, words build worlds. But
Yeah,
Rich asked the question about the L being out of the word that would technically make it worlds. And
right.
that's an important key in a deep science in regards to 90-degree angles. And they touched on it. And I wanted to add to that as the fact that, again, when you're talking about the L, you're talking about deconstructive wave interference, which gives us our physical reality. So the reason why we can see colors is based on the fact that there's a 90-degree phase shift of that frequency being rejected out of harmony. Harmony is constructive wave interference, which makes light invisible. That's harmony. Melanin is possessed with constructive wave interference, which gives us our color, based on electromagnetism, because that's constructive wave interference. Now, when you get a frequency that kicks out at a 90-degree angle, that's what gives you your physical reality, which is deconstructive wave interference. So I just wanted to, point that out, because when you're speaking, you're manipulating the geometrical lattices that exist within the dielectric field, which again we're going to speak about. That is going at a 90-degree angle. 90-degree angles represents changes in your life. So when you see a huge shift in your life, there's a shift at a 90-degree angle, because we're talking about light, different angles of light. So I just wanted to add to that. And that's actually a piece in the illustrious illumination that we're going to touch on in reference to different angles of light. But that 90-degree angle of light, you earn your L when you learn, right? You earn your
Right.
L when you learn. So, when you begin to make those changes and begin to take in certain information, there's different phase shifts in your reality at 90-degree angles based on a different level of light that you're taking in, which deifies you as a person, who is earning their L, because they receive their L once they earn, their right to demonstrate what they're doing. So,
Damn. Okay. Man, hold on, man. It's just give you your bombs. That's your version of your flowers. Give you your bombs while you here.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I'm saying? So man, for the ones who twist the language up, you know what I mean? The ones who like to break the English and twist the language, you know, continue being the alchemist that you are. Do not allow anyone to shame you for, you know what I mean, manipulating the quote unquote world, the word, so you can manipulate the world and whatnot. Create, create, create. Bend the motherfucking spoon. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
One more question and then we out of here. We passed the midnight mark. We are out of here. We're gonna return on Melanin Monday. I just might bring the good brother back with me. You feel me? To continue to sprinkle these gems and whatnot. There's a lot of gems being dropped. I hope y'all pick them up and put them on. You know what I'm saying? You know, pick up your gemstones and wear them and whatnot. Don't allow these gems to just falter. You know what I mean? Do something with it. Be very creative. This information breathes life. You know what I mean? It breathes light and it breathes life into those who are able to retain it. So, one more question and then we out of here. All right. Make sure y'all hit the like button. But of course, you feel me? Make sure y'all hit the like button. You got a Cash App? I'm gonna go ahead and post that too.
I do.
You know what I
Dollar
mean?
sign, yeah, dollar sign ALKEBULAN44.
Yeah, baby's gotta eat. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all, baby's gotta eat. You know what I'm saying? So this brother's in school. He got children's. You know what I mean? He's a family man. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the baby's gotta eat. You know what I'm talking about? So show your appreciation. Um, the last question that we have is, how would you suggest to activate my light body if I still eat all meat? Oh, pause. Yeah, that was a pregnant pause.
Mm-hmm. How do you suggest activate your light body? I mean, you know, there's really no way around it, to be quite honest with you. I mean, that's, you know, you can't shortcut it. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you're aware that, you know, you have to activate your light body by way of adhering to a lifestyle relative to food intake, you know, that's the information that you need in order to, you know, begin to, you know, disassociate yourself from eating meat. Because again, there's no shortcut to it. You know, there's really no way of activating per se the light body. I mean, you can enhance it, you know, you can you know, combat it by way of exercise, you know, taking certain herbs, you know, of course, sun gazing, getting sun in general. But
Right.
you know, when you begin to mix and master, you know, the chemistry in the body, because when you're eating a lot of meat, you're obtaining a lot of ammonia, nitrogen, sulfur. You know, when the melanated body is more natural, you know, we have the tyrosine, the phenylalanine, the tryptophan, all these aromatic amino acids that are the precursors to the process of melanin being made. But if you're combating that process being made by way of eating meat, you can never really light up the body because you're disrupting that process, that melanin matrix. You know, tyrosine acts as an electron because it's an enzyme that's very electrified, you know. So the fact that you're putting in nitrogen in the body, which is combating that process of taking place, you're going to begin to process melanin and things of that nature and light up the body, but you're never going to reach your fullest potential. You know what I'm saying? So you know, it's equivalent to if you want a light bulb or a laser, right? A laser is coherent. That's point source light. You're talking
Right.
about a light bulb, you're only talking about a small level of wattage. But again, when we're talking about the creator, we're talking about the highest level of wattage. So how serious are you about really getting to that point? You know, is chicken something that you can't live without? You know what I mean? It's just about a level of discipline. So, you know,
Right.
again, having the awareness that you need to eliminate chicken out of your diet to, you know, reach your fullest potential, you know, I mean, that's kind of something that, you know, you got to, you know, begin to, you know, basically take in and understand that you got to, yeah, do just that. You got to begin to eliminate the meat out of your diet.
Man, that was heavy. That was definitely heavy. I'm gonna let it rest on that right there. You know what I mean? A laser or a light bulb. That's interesting. Feel me? A laser or a goddamn light bulb.
Right. Right.
Okay,
Right.
that part. And for those that are attempting to get off of the quote unquote flesh, or you know, the animal, right? Or with the roster call it dead ass. Do you suggest, you know, implementing maybe a 1 day or a 2 day fast throughout the week
Yeah,
to begin to break
absolutely.
that cycle?
Yeah, like an intermediate fast. So an intermediate fast is an 8-hour window where you eat, and then 16 hours when you're off, right?
Oh, okay.
So if you can start with that, that'd be great. Like that'd be a good start. Like just, if you still eating the meat, but you eating it within the 8-hour window, but then 16 hours you're fasting with just nothing at all, just water, that's a great start. And that actually has similar benefits to a complete fast. So, you're building up the the neurons in the brain, you're adhering to, more mitochondria in the hippocampus. And I'm just speaking more about the brain and the mind. I'm just speaking from that perspective. I'm not even getting into the body.
Right.
But that serves as equivalent to a fast. So intermediate fast is important. So people just in general, anybody who's struggling with a certain diet, and they're trying to activate their light body, I would start with an intermediate fast. And again, that's 8 hours of eating and then 16 hours off, and eat whatever you want to eat for those 8 hours. Just make sure that those 16 you're just drinking nothing but water, right? And do it again over and over, and then eventually throw in a complete fast, whether you're doing a God body challenge or just whatever. But eventually you'll notice though, and me personally, I've been off meat for about over 10 years. So
Right.
you'll notice though, when you do an intermediate fasting and your goal is to eliminate meat out your diet, your desire for meat begins to lose. You,
It
you you
does.
lose
It
the
does.
desire to eat meat, like, and then you look back and be like, well, why was I eating meat? I eat everything else. You know what I'm saying? Like meat is something that I don't even necessarily need per se. So it's just about getting out of the habit, and breaking it, and you can do it by intermediate fasting. So, that's what I would suggest for the family.
Right. Right. Right.
What I would suggest for the family.
Yeah. Shout out to the brother who sent me this merch. Got to give him the plug. You know what I'm saying? I believe it's called Paradise and Hell. You know what I
Mm.
mean? The name of it says money. Let me see. Money and hating niggas could never coexist. You know what I'm saying? I co-sign that right there. And then shout out to the sister who sent me this right here. This glows in the dark. You know what I mean? This is a powerful piece. I've been charging. I've been feeling charged up wearing it and whatnot. Where's her card at?
Oh, and then real quick, shout out to the brother in AZ for hooking me up. I know he sent you some stuff too.
Oh yeah, some drip. Hawks Apparel, my guy.
Yeah, Hawks Apparel. Yeah, yeah. Send me
Yeah,
the
shout
same
out to Hawks
stuff.
Apparel.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fire you got on. That's fire right there. That
yeah.
color is working.
Crazy. Yeah, yeah. So
Let me get the business. Let me get the card so I could properly promote.
right. But as we wait here, again, family, make sure you tap in April 30th, the illustrious illumination. Again, this is information that you can utilize in real time just by understanding the mechanics of reality and equipping the mind with certain tools, right? Oh, that's
Look at this
fire.
ancestor money. $144 centillion.
That's
My
fire.
ancestor money is popping. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the ancestors.
Yeah, no, that's
You
super
feel
fire.
me?
That's super
Yeah, this is
fire.
fire.
Yeah, that's super fire. Yeah.
So this is the company, real quick. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom.
Now you good.
Orgone Energy Self-Healing.com. Orgone Energy Self-Healing.com. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
OrgoneEnergyBatteries.com. All right. Hit them up and let them know the red pill sent you. The sister makes all of these powerful orgone pieces, You know, I have all going around my neck. Uncle Hank hooked me up on my birthday, my born day, and whatnot. And this has been a this has been a magnet for me, right? Been drawing a lot of positive things in my life and whatnot. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I sleep with the all gone underneath the pillow, you know, so I could go into dream state. And I also carry all gone pyramids with me. So, you know, I'm tapped in.
Yeah, and again, we spoke on Uncle Hank as well. Like I said, he's demonstrating the physicality when it comes to electromagnetics. So please believe, family, like when you wear those pieces, certain things happen. You know, nature naturally synchronizes certain things to you based on you raising your capacitance. We live in an electric universe, so when you can accompany yourself with certain, you know, necklaces and jewelry and pendants and things of that nature that are electrically magnetic, is going to cause an effect, you know, in your reality. Because again, we live in a fluid-like environment that's electrically conductive. So when you apply electric components to the body, you're going to have, you know, a natural effect. You know what I'm saying? So that's key.
Yeah, Shaman Dooley. Yeah, Shaman Dooley was on the show. Go into the archives. He was on the show like last week. He brought four sisters with him. I'm gonna link up with Shaman Dooley. I think it's tomorrow. They out here for a whole week in Atlanta. They're gonna be doing toad, frog, snake venom, a whole bunch of shit. Yeah, I mean, so I'll be in the underworld with Shaman Dooley this weekend, or this strong end. Um, if you're in Atlanta, Mama Pill got something on April 30th in the West End. It's gonna be an all-day spa thing. Ladies and brothers that need some pampering and whatnot, you can hit me on the email and I'll send you the information on that. But yeah, Shaman Dooley, that's my guy from Boston. When I talk about us going to Boston all the way 10 years ago, that was Shaman Dooley behind that. He was one of the promoters that brought us out there, and the brother has grown and evolved, and he's doing his thing. You know, he's on his shaman shit for real, for real. So yeah. So I want to say thank you for delivering. We did about 2 hours of some high level conversations, some high level magic, some super science and whatnot. We got the fam out there taking notes and shit. So they're gonna rewind this. They're gonna pause and go to the Googles and, you know, add on new words to their lexicon. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? We're all evolving. The information is upgrading us. And I'm honored, you know what I mean, to be here and to be a part of this. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, tap in again April 30th. Tickets you can get in both me and Red's bio. The illustrious illumination, real-time demonstration information. Make sure some of the terms that I spoke about today, do your due diligence, tapping into. Even on my IG, you know, I put up posts and I get real sciencey, you know, in it. So even
Color
down,
is gold, right?
colors go, right? Colors
Color is
go,
gold.
you know,
And it
in
was
event.
green. It was green before, and 55 was the number, and that shit kept hitting like
Look,
the number game. It kept
look,
hitting like lottery.
look. Yeah, look, and I haven't even personally spoke about that science too much. What I do is, you know, I touch on certain information that I'm involved with as far as, you know, the algorithms and things of that nature. But, you know, that's a real time demonstration that I'm in the process of quantifying, you know, myself, because it's a level of, you know, just a level of information you got to be involved with to even really acquiesce to that type of, you know, I would say dimensionality. Let me just say that. But you know, we're gonna touch on that as well. A lot of people ask me about the colors and numbers, and how I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
you can't get that up.
yeah. That's, you know, that's something that's in the vault. You know what I mean? But like I said, you know, I deliver the science that I'm involved with, you know, in order to acquiesce to that type of you know, like I said, dimensionality. But we're, you know, as time goes on, we'll continue to envelope it, because like I said, that's just a piece of what I want to demonstrate to the family in real time as far as algorithms. So, you know,
Right.
there's a lot in the vault, you know what I'm saying? And I want to, you know, roll some more stuff out before I begin to really teach, you know,
Right,
that love
right.
of science, you know, but we gotta, you know, give it to them one by one at first. So
Yeah, yeah, we walking through it. We
we're walking
walking
through
through
it.
it. You know what I'm
That's a fact.
saying? Yeah, that part, you know. So, like I said, we lit, you know what I mean? We lit. We about to turn this thing up. And I'm honored to, you know, walk the family. I'm honored to walk these students. I'm honored to walk my network into this classroom so we could receive this upgrade, you know what I mean? And we could apply this information in real time.
That's a fact.
So y'all, man, with that being said, y'all go ahead and hit the link ktluniversity.com. That's where you get everything that you need. You know, we don't necessarily have to go through Eventbrite anymore. Shout out to Eventbrite though. They held me down for a minute. Everything that you need is on this channel, ktluniversity.com. You get to watch the lecture there. When you buy your ticket, you'll get the email the day of with the link. It brings you right in there. And then the day after the actual presentation, you get the replay. You have that in perpetuity, meaning forever.
Mm-hmm.
And on that site is also other past lectures that we've done. The one that I did with ALKEBULAN, if you want to get familiar with his teaching style, we just did something a month ago, and that's up there as well. You know what I mean? That one was a bona fide certified classic soulmatic. Yeah, I'm talking about. So with that being said, love and light to the family. Inshallah, we'll see y'all on Monday for Melanin Monday and whatnot. And pull up, you know what I'm talking about? And if you want to leave them with anything, go ahead, good brother.
No, just again, April 30th, we going in. Like I said, high level science. I'm pushing the envelope. You know what I mean? I'm introducing words that we probably never heard before. But again, it's a lexicon that we got to get familiar with. It's the science that our ancestors were always familiar with. So we got to understand again that we are these individuals literally that were on the walls, but we done came off the walls and we're living in real time. So there's a prophecy that we're playing out, and we got to follow the agenda in our script, figure out what the script is and our purpose, and continue to live out it. You know what I'm saying? So I also too want to let people know, Bill 45 hit me up in my DMs. Is, you know, I don't even like to call them consultations, they're bills. You know what I'm saying? So any questions in reference to anything that I speak about on my IG, shoot me a DM. We'll set up a bill, schedule you, put you on you know, on the books, you know, and set up a time to tap in. So with that being said, Red, you know what I mean? I think that we did it. So family,
Yeah,
tap in. April 30th, link in Red's bio, my bio, the illustrious illumination family.
that part. Yeah, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Love and light to y'all. Y'all stay up, man.
We out.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.